You took a photo last night. Maybe it was a city skyline, maybe just your friend across a dimly lit table, and it looked decent, maybe even great. But here's the thing, what your phone actually captured in that split second, it would have looked terrible. Grainy, dark, blurry, almost unusable. What happened between the shutter click and that photo in your gallery? A lot. Way more than you'd expect. Section 1. The shutter click. Let's go back to basics for a second. Light is the whole game in photography. The camera sensor needs light to make a picture. More light, cleaner image. Less light, the sensor starts struggling, starts guessing, starts filling in gaps with noise. That's the gritty texture you see in dark photos. That's not artistic, that's the sensor panicking. Old phones, they just gave you the panicked result. Grainy, washed out, done. You remember those early iPhone night photos? Or honestly, any phone from 2012. You take a shot indoors and it looked like you photographed it through a dirty window. That was the reality. Light is scarce, sensor struggles, photo looks bad. But then something quietly shifted, and most people didn't notice when it happened. Phones started doing something clever. When you hit that shutter button in low light, it's not taking one photo. Section 2. Multi-frame processing. It takes many. Could be 4, could be 9, could be 15 rapid-fire exposures in under a second, sometimes faster than your hand actually trembles. Each one's slightly different noise patterns, slightly different alignment, different random grain in different places. And then, before you even see anything, the phone is stacking those frames together, averaging them, aligning them, pulling out the consistent information, the actual scene, and throwing away the inconsistent stuff, the noise. It's called multi-frame processing, and it genuinely works. Think of it like this. Imagine 10 people all trying to describe the same room in the dark. Each person notices slightly different things. Get them all talking, and suddenly you can piece together a much more accurate picture of what's actually there. That's roughly what's happening inside your phone in about half a second. Section 3. Time and motion. The real challenge. But honestly, that's not even the main problem. The real challenge, the thing that most people never think about, is motion. Because here's the cruel irony. To capture more light, you need longer exposures. But longer exposures mean more time for things to move. And moving things blur. Your hand moves. Your subject breathes. A car passes in the background. So now you're not just fighting noise, you're fighting time itself. And this is where it gets genuinely weird. Modern phones don't just stack frames, they analyze them. The AI is looking at each frame and asking, is this pixel part of something moving, or is it part of the static background? A person walking through your shot? The phone might detect them, treat them differently from the building behind them, handle each part of the scene with different rules. It's not one process. It's more like the phone is silently making hundreds of tiny editorial decisions before you ever see the image. Wait, is that even photography anymore? Well, not exactly. Not in the traditional sense. Section 4. Computational photo. This is computational photography, and it's a fundamentally different thing. A film camera captured what light physically did to a surface. This is an algorithm deciding what the photo should look like based on probabilities and pattern recognition. Same scene. Very different philosophy. Section 5. The trade-offs. And that matters because it also explains the failures. You've probably noticed this. Someone moves during a night shot and comes out looking slightly ghosted, or a light source gets this weird halo around it, or a face looks almost too smooth like it's been ironed flat. That's not a bug exactly. That's the algorithm being too confident. It removed what it thought was noise, but it was actually detail. It blended frames that shouldn't have been blended. It made a decision, and it was wrong. Even doing everything right, holding still, good lighting conditions, latest phone, the system can still produce something uncanny. Something that looks almost real but slightly off in a way you can't immediately name. Because there's a hard limit here. No amount of software makes a small phone sensor the same as a large camera sensor. Physics doesn't negotiate. What AI can do is make the most of what's there. Retrieve signal from noise, fill gaps intelligently, make educated guesses that are usually right, but usually isn't always. Here's the trade-off nobody talks about openly. This processing takes real computational power, which takes battery, which is why long night shots can feel slightly warm in your hand. The processor is genuinely working, and there's a speed limit too. That ultra-frame capture only works if the scene isn't changing too fast. A live concert, a dark street with fast traffic, the phone is working with motion blur it can't fully untangle. So what can you actually do with this? Try holding your phone with two hands next time you shoot in the dark, braced against something if you can. Fewer frames need heavy correction when the base is stable. If there's a dedicated night mode, use it. But also know it has a countdown for a reason. It's buying time to collect more light. And if you're getting that over-smooth, plasticky look, some phones let you dial back the night mode intensity. Less aggressive processing, more natural texture. Worth experimenting. Section 6. Process memory. One more thing. Your phone's camera app shows you a preview in real time. That preview is already processed. You are never seeing raw sensor data. Not once. Every tap, every frame you review, every "that looks great" moment, Already filtered, already interpreted, already a version of reality the algorithm decided was most useful to you. Which makes you wonder, how much of what we call a memory is actually what happened? And how much is just the best guess?